I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmasters, and this is LD and the MC.
Well, as the amazing Bob Cobb just told you all, you have found yourself once again with LD
and the MC.
How are you, my fine Canadian friend?
I'm nervous. This is show number 13. This 13. Is hotels don't put floors. They omit the whole floor. They go from 12 to 14. We got some. Hopefully, we get through this okay.
We got some juju cooking on this one, as they say. We got some interesting topics going on, and lots of stuff going on. You said this in the pre-show that you and I have before we hit record every day. Sports heavy episode. It's going to be a good one. But as always, we kick things off with a mom's basement moment. And you told me via text that you had one that you had to get off your chest and you were going to put yourself in mom's basement. And so I'm very anxious to hear this. So I will turn this over to you, Mr. MC.
Well, as I do this, I do realize as I enter this situation that I'm about to get caved in, and I apologize for that, but I don't apologize for this because it's got to be freaking said. Every once in a while, I got to hop in mom's basement moment and tell the truth. I mean, you have been whining to me via text. I mean, me and Luke are in touch every single day via text. We don't always talk on the phone, but we're always texting and whining about his football coach who got fired?
Coach Jeremy Pruitt got fired from the University of Tennessee. And it's not that. It's the fact that he was cheating and we only won 3 games and then 10 coaches got freaking fired. And now Tennessee is a dumpster fire once again. And college football is life.
But if you only won 1 game, I believe
we won 3.
We're a dumpster 3. Okay. Anyways, it's not about Tennessee. It's about the whole activity in general. College football sucks. I mean, I'm going to say it right now. I mean, I know I love everybody I work down south with, and I get it. You guys love college football, but it sucks. I mean, I watched the national championship game. I'll watch it all the time. I'll always watch the Iron Bowl, but it sucks. I mean, sure, they score a lot. Sure, there's some big magical plays, but that's because there's no parity. That's because some of the players on the field suck. I mean, it's just how it is. I mean,
you're out of your damn mind.
No, I mean, dude, if you bet,
in the comments, you're going to hear, "Hey, Mercer, you're out of your league, buddy. You're out of your lane."
I
College football rules in the United States. Do you guys even have colleges in Canada?
No, we have professional sports. We're from a part of the world that has professional sports where they weed out the UPS drivers and they weed out. I mean, some of these guys are not going to be playing sports. And I get it. It's cool. And if you went to that school or your kid goes to that school, you have the bumper sticker. Boop, boop. I love that. I get it. There's a reason. If you bet, I get it. Because everything's fun if you bet. I mean, anything's fun if you bet.
If you're winning.
But I mean, as a game, it's just there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes. There's great quarterbacks. And that's the reason, Luke. That's the reason why. Everybody's like, how come so-and-so went to the NFL and sucked? How come so-and-so was so good in college? Because all of a sudden, there was freaking all those plugs that were in the field were replaced by players that weren't holes. And there wasn't those openings, and the game gets a lot tighter, and everybody can run fast. Everybody can throw far. Everybody can do it. And that's why I'm an NFL fan. And lastly, what's with cheering people on when they're not getting paid enough? I mean, I get it. College players are getting paid, let's be honest, but they're not getting paid enough.
Yeah, obviously Tennessee's were, but not enough to matter.
So my mom's basement moment is college football sucks. Prove me wrong in the comments.
Guys, all you humpers out there, I don't think you're going to convince them otherwise because I've never seen a more passionate MC in his hatred for the NCAA.
Hate it.
Hell with all these children and their sports games and all you people that buy the jerseys. And
it's not about the children, let's be honest, okay? Because a few months ago, they were telling the smart kids to stay home and just bring the athletes.
Yeah, for sure. But here's my thing. Truly, dude. and any person, especially in the SEC, because there's a difference in SEC football. And I don't want all you ACC and Big Ten I don't want y'all in the comments saying that.
Oh, I do believe that. I mean,
SEC football,
Alabama and Clemson's going to win every championship, and Notre Dame's going to come and lose. And I mean, I believe that.
Trash. Notre Dame's trash always, and so is Tennessee. So I can say that. But SEC football, dude, when you go, even when Tennessee, like, they've sucked. They won the national championship in 1998 against Florida State, and they've never even been close since. But we hold on to that, man. And when you go to Knoxville, Tennessee on a Saturday in October, and the leaves are changing, and everybody's wearing orange, and pre-COVID, of course, and 115,000
What a party.
Dude, it's incredible. It's the most incredible thing in the world. And you would go, okay, yeah, I get it.
That's the part
I get it.
In my defense, I will say this. That is the part of the equation I've never experienced.
Yes.
And there's no part of me that thinks that, hey, listen, let's start a podcast where we just go to every college football game and party with people. Yeah. I mean, we get a lot more viewers. And I'm sure that'd be a lot of fun, and I'd be a huge fan. And that's my point. Like, if you go to the college or you're part of that community, I get it. But as far as a game, I'm sorry. But saying that, Luke, I'm a little concerned because
I don't know.
One of the people I respect most on this planet and work side by side with, Trip Weldon, is the world's largest college football fan. And I may have got myself in trouble. But he was in the news this week, and you had told me you read a really, really nice piece put together by James Hall.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. The Sentinel, the last Sentinel, I think, or I forget what the title. Sorry, James, I butchered it. But
not very prepared.
Not very prepared. Never. But there have only been 3 Bassmaster tournament directors in history, and that's something you don't really think about. But I mean, FLW is kind of the same way, right? Like Bill Taylor's just like this fixture with FLW. Yeah. He's been there for a very long time, but there have only been 3. Now he's had assistants and different things, but Tripp is the 3rd of all time. He had Dewey Kendrick and who is it? Harold Sharp.
Harold Sharp was the original, and Dewey Kendrick.
Yeah, Dewey. So Tripp to me has always represented no nonsense, right? And even like, it's funny, like I like when you're on stage with him and you're goading him a little bit or whatever, and he's like sneaky funny, right? Like he'll get cracked up at you, but but most of the time he's like, in any dealings I've had with him, dude, he's the sheriff, right? Like he's the guy, like, and I found it real crazy in the article though. James had interviewed Tripp about his, toughest moments, and he had to DQ KVD one time. And he said, "Oh, man, that was, this was KVD and prime KVD. Like, you got to DQ him," which is
cost him Angler of the Year.
Cost him AOY. Right.
If he doesn't get DQ'd there, he catches one bass.
That's right.
Mike Iaconelli is never an Angler of the Year.
That's right. And the same with Greg Hackney at Cayuga. He said these were the 3 toughest moments of his career. He had to DQ Hackney at Cayuga for fishing a quote off limits area or whatever, however that went down. That was a widely talked about thing then. And then he had to DQ Gerald in front of the hometown crowd for running by Randy Howell that time wide open.
Ought not have done that.
Hey, yeah.
That's what Randy Howell said. Ought not have done that.
Ought not have done that. And he said those were his 3 toughest moments. But he was always a guy that, like, I mean, you hear things from turn, and we've talked about it on here, like, oh, they let this guy get away with this, and this turn true, this guy bends the rules here. There's not any. You don't hear that about Tripp. You don't go, oh, this dude on the Elite Series, he pulls one over on Tripp. I don't think you get that, and I think a lot of it is the utmost respect, the anglers have for Tripp, and they respect his job, and most people in the industry very much respect him. My question to you is, who the heck, who do you replace Tripp with as he retires, as we send Tripp off February 1st?
I think that's a question that has been asked several times before. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure, who do you replace Harold Sharp with? Who do you replace Dewey Kendrick with? And I'm not the one who answers that. I mean, I have my feelings.
Well, they give it to you
with who it should be, and we can get into that on future shows or who it may be. But right now, I just want to talk about Tripp.
Yeah,
because I'm going to tell you that the amazing thing about Tripp is, and Tripp and me, we're we're oil and water. Like if you look at us as
Yeah.
people, like, you know what I mean? I am big and loud and obnoxious. He is small and quiet and not obnoxious, very to the point, very, you know, like my words are just flutter. His words are very to the point.
And well thought out.
Yeah, well thought out. Mine just a little ramble. And but the amazing thing about Trip that I love, I mean, I've loved every moment on the stage. I mean, first of all, I came into a job where I had the utmost respect for him because Trip has it's an aura, almost. You know what I mean? I don't even know if that's the right word, but there is
Rick James aura.
Similar but different. Yes, but there's. I mean, he's the most intimidating man. You get a room of people. I mean, I'm scared of Denny Brower, Jason Christie, Greg Hackney, and a bunch of them. But they're all freaking scared of Trip Weldon. Don't get that wrong. And I've had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun with Trip. But I think the thing that is amazing about him is and what has made him really good at his job is he's seen all sides. I mean, he was a tournament angler.
Yes.
Traveled with Swindle for years. You know what I mean? Like he's. You hear people say things like he's one of us. And it sounds funny for me to say that about him because he's, you know what I mean? He's a founding father of this sport, but he really is. He understands the sport. Every one of those decisions is painstaking. Like you want to see Trip's toughest days. His toughest days are when it's still dark and he's pacing and he's trying to make a decision and he's thinking. He doesn't take any of those decisions lightly, and it really is amazing. You know, there's times where over the years I've said, well, it's just this, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like and he's like, well, you got to think about it from this side, or if you make that call, it affects this down the road. You know what I mean? Like he tries to make it even for everybody. But I think ultimately the thing that I love most about Trip is the fact that he's a freaking fan. Like I swear to you, every morning, one of my favorite mornings of the year is Classic morning. The first morning, the Classic, and it's not so much takeoff. It's not so much. It's the time that me and Trip spend together. Like we're geeked out. We're both like, he's like, did you sleep last night? And I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't slept one night, one week. You know what I mean? Like because you're jacked up, you're that excited, and when you've been around as long as Trip has, and you've done as much as he has, and put up with as much as he has. Really, you think about it, that's one of those positions. It's like being a cop, except you're never allowed to tase anyone. I mean, you never get a stress relief.
Bass, whoever you hire, I am in support of tasers. Somebody drives through a no-way. Wow.
I am not in support of that. I'm not in support of that.
Your ass will get tased. That's why.
There are several times I know Trip would have tased.
Put your mask on, Mercer.
But he's an amazing man, and it's hard to even think of, you know what I mean? Like those few tournaments that I've done without him have been weird because you're just so used to he's Trip, right? That's the
picture.
Yeah.
You guys have a really cool chemistry too. And
do we
see it? I think so. Yeah. And you can see it from afar. Like, I mean, as many weigh-ins as I've watched and things, like I really do. Like, I think, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of like this sneaky sense of humor he has, like, especially like taking jabs at other college, you know what I'm saying? I'll say like those little things that he likes to get in there, and because he doesn't say much, you know, on the mic, obviously, you're the guy, but he'll sneak one in there every now and then. Like, y'all do have this thing, and he has I feel like he has an amazing amount of respect for you, for Zona, for the entire team, right? And he wears that bass patch on his sleeve to the T, and I think it's what you got to be in that position, man. And he learned from one of the best, Dewey. And who, by the way, I know this is about Trip real quick. I ran into Dewey Kendrick a few years ago. He was working at the Montgomery, Alabama Bass Pro Shops, and I went in there to working behind the reel counter, just like a retired job, And I went in there. I was on the interstate. Swear to God, I went in Montgomery, and they got all this old bass, memorabilia in there. It's a really cool Bass Pro. And they're at Prattville, Alabama. And I went in, and Dewey freaking Kendrick works in there, or did then. And I was just like, oh my God, it's Dewey. it's Dewey Kendrick. Like I was geeking out.
Is this real or is this made
I
up?
swear to God. I swear to God. I swear. Yeah, he worked there. And I don't know if he still does. This was years ago. But I'm saying like he worked there and I'm thinking, how many people come in here to buy bass fishing tackle from this dude and don't realize that he was the guy that weighed in Hank Parker. He was the guy that weighed, you know what I'm saying? Like all these crazy moments in bass fishing history, he was there for him. And Tripp is just like that. Like these miraculous moments that he's been there for, man, and had to make those calls. I would love to have Tripp, and I hope I can on LBL, you know, do like a real cool interview with Tripp about, I would love to hear those stories about, hey man, when you canceled this day at Falcon, right? Like what's the thought process, or how does that?
He's not going to tell you crap.
He wouldn't.
Oh, he's always such a cop. He is. He'd be like, well, I can't divulge such situations. That was something that me and Chuck dealt with.
Chuck Harbin is another one, dude. Yeah. Chuck was my tournament director when I fished the Opens when I was like 19, and he just, I mean, I'd call about everything. Hey, Chuck, it's midnight. My battery charger's not working. Do you know where the service crew guys are? I mean, like he was, when I was 19, I was that guy. And Chuck was like, hey, Luke, they'll be back in the morning. Don't ever.
You want to one of the best Tripp and Chuck stories ever, and it doesn't even involve them, but I just love that somebody did this. Do you know that one time Jeff Crete had 2 pet goats? He named them Chuck and Tripp. No joke.
I wonder if he changed that name over time. He changed it to Boyd and Jim.
Yeah, I told a nice story, and you have to get
I know, I'm just making a joke. He's not with bass anymore. I don't know if he has any bass goats anymore. Hey, I want to say this on the Tripp thing. Congrats on getting to retire, on like making it, right? Like that's all of our goal, I guess. You know, I feel like Mercer and I'll be doing this 40 years from now. But I met Tripp Weldon, and he would never remember this ever. He was not this was actually, I think Dewey was still the man, but I think Tripp worked for Bass. But it was the first red man tournament I ever fished. I was 16 years old. I was a co-angler. My dad fished the boater side, and my first ever quote big tournament, right? And fished as a co's. First year they had co's in the red man's, and it was on Lake Martin, and Tripp won it.
Oh, he's a hammer.
Oh yeah, and he won it, and sight fishing, like blew it out like a big bag of largemouth, and everybody else like super sucked that day. And I had practiced with my dad and stuff. My dad's like, oh, it's pretty tough around here. And then he comes in with like 20 whatever on Martin, and my dad's like, apparently it wasn't that tough. But I'll never forget, he was sitting off by himself, like waiting on him to kind of get through at the weigh-in. And I went over and introduced myself because I was a bass fishing groupie and knew he worked for Bass, and he was so kind, you know. But I thought, how cool is this, man? Tripp Well, but he used to show up, you know, at Lake Martin events. So he was going to be there. And I thought it was so cool for the elites a couple years ago when you guys were at Martin. Like, I know that week
he was so geeked out that week.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, I'm sure, for sure. So congrats to Tripp, and thank you for everything over the years. I know Mercer probably has a lot more to thank you for than I do, but I just want to say from a fan's perspective, thank you for being the sheriff, man.
He's an amazing man, but I will say our relationship started on a rocky road. Real quick here, I'll fill you in on this. Okay. So back to college football, always getting me in trouble. Well, I'm the new guy, right? I'm hired by Bass, and I meet Tripp at JM Studios, which is in Little Rock, Arkansas. So we have this big meeting where we're all getting together, and it wasn't just me and Tripp; it was the whole crew, because that was the new ownership under Jerry McInnes and Don Logan and Jim Copeland. So we're all getting together, and we're going to do this classic thing coming up and everything. So I go home after the meeting, and I've met Tripp, and I know who Tripp is. I want to really impress him and everything. And I go home, and I'm watching the news, and I see that the Alabama football team is in the national championship, right? So I just happened to have a call with them the next day, and I call them up. Or no, they had won. They had won the national championship, I believe. So I call him up the next day, and I'm like, Tripp, congratulations, your team won. And he's like, you must be out of your mind, because that was the year that Auburn won. But I didn't know. I'm a stupid Canadian, right? It's the college football team in Alabama. But I don't, at the time, I didn't know the difference between, Auburn and Alabama. And he's like, and I'm like, well, maybe our news is wrong in Canada, but he said, well, that was Auburn. That was not Alabama. That was not that was not
the Tide.
not the Crimson Tide. And I'm like, oh well, I'm sorry. And, you know, Tripp is one of those dudes who, like, when he says something to you, like, you're like, oh God, I screwed up here.
Yeah.
And then he's in Tripp fashion. He's like, well, but I have to let you know, I'm in a mixed marriage. My wife Mary went to Auburn. I don't talk about it often. But there's one Tripp Weldon, and I do love him, man. It is an incredible man, and I'm going to miss him on that stage. And like you said, I don't think he's going anywhere. We'll see him around every time we sneak into Alabama. He might make the Elite Series. How awesome would that be? I'd love to introduce Tripp.
Shocker. It would not be a shocker for me. And I want to give just a big roll tide. Roll tide, Tripp. Not War Eagle, roll tide. I know college football, and I understand that you don't like Auburn. Roll tide. Roll tide. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't. So we go from send-offs to welcoming parties in this next topic, MC. And this is this one, it might have been talked about, you know, a little bit. Because
dude's nuts. That's all I'm gonna say, and let you take it away.
Speaking of nuts, so this news came out after I recorded LBL. I didn't get to talk about it. I said, Mercer, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this because this is something that I have talked to death. This is something that I feel like fishing fans talk to death. I feel like forums talk to death. The potential, the theoretical, what if? Well, finally, it is here. You get to judge and watch a GOOGAN fish tournaments because Mr. LunkersTV himself, Rob Terkla, has announced that he's fishing the Bassmaster Opens and the Toyota Series. And I think he's got the biggest balls in the room because he's got 1.7 million followers or whatever. It's a number I can't even count to. Why in the hell would you do it? You don't have anything to prove. And it's a scary situation to me for him to be in because he, of all the GOOGANs, and I think this is fair to say, is the most outspoken. I feel like for people that don't like the GOOGANs, he's the most hated. He is in your face. He's shooting guns wearing a Speedo, doesn't give a damn, shooting stuff out of helicopters. He's a wild man. He's a complete wild man. But for all of those, Dave Mercer, people that are like, they can't fish, why are they popular? If he doesn't catch them, what happens? Besides the obvious. I mean, what's your take on this? You work for the organization he's going to fish. Is this a good thing? Is he crazy? You've already said he's crazy, but what do you think, man?
Number one, I think it's a great thing. But I think he's nuts. I think he's absolutely out of his mind. I think he is freaking delusional, disconnected, disjointed, whatever you want to call it, because I have watched grown men that have fished at every single level. I have watched grown men stand at the troughs backstage, and this isn't a joke. I've watched them cry.
Dude,
like I've literally watched grown men cry at those troughs. That doesn't happen after one event. That doesn't happen after two events. That happens after a season of beatings that you took.
Yeah.
And these are people that train to get ready for this. So to think you can just jump in and compete on the Bassmaster circuit, the Toyota circuit, you know, it don't matter where. It's not a simple thing. To compete in go win your Tuesday night tournament and tell me how easy that is. Never mind what he's trying to do. So what he's trying to do is unfathomable. I mean, it's almost tougher than what, like we talked about, you know, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather.
There we go. This is
Logan
very much
Paul's
like
fighting
that.
one guy. If Lunkers was competing against KVD, his odds would be higher. That I honestly believe that.
Very true.
Mathematically, the chance of Lunkers beating Kevin Van Dam one day. That can happen. Kevin has bad days. Everybody has bad days. You know what I mean? But to beat 200 guys in the opens or whatever that number ends up being is unfathomable. It's not going to happen. I mean, it's almost impossible. But that being said, to have 1.8 million followers on YouTube is unfathomable. You know what I mean? To make it through everything he saw as a soldier before he ever put a YouTube video up is unfathomable. So do I think what he's trying to do is realistic? No, it's not realistic at all. Do I think he could do it? Yeah, but I don't think it happens quick. I think he takes beating after beating after beating and learns from those. I think he's put himself in a weird situation. He's kind of like a lot of high-profile fighters that come to the UFC where you ain't going to get a shot to learn, dude. He's a lot like, I mean, we talked about female anglers and how they don't get to learn.
He doesn't get that. He doesn't get that, hey, man, grace period.
He doesn't get 1 day of it.
No, he doesn't get that.
And that being said, he'll get it from the pros. Because the pros will respect him for what he's doing.
Million percent.
It ain't going to be the pros that are hating on him. It's going to be
$1,000,000%.
It's going to be the 13-year-old kid at home that, oh, you didn't catch him today, Lunkers. You suck.
Or the guy that hates his channel, you know, or the guy that has always the Mom's Basement folks on forums that always compare, you know, Kevin Van Dam to the YouTubers because they don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Don't understand either or. So they're automatically going to go, oh, I told you they suck at fishing because we're keeping score in tournaments, right? But if you look at how most people measure success, right? Like you said, everything he's done, in my opinion, that they've done collectively as a group. I had him on the podcast. They talk about the GOOGAN takeover. Walk in a Dick's Sporting Goods. Walk in an Academy. Walk in a damn Walmart. Dude, the aisles are green with this stuff. Like, they have taken over a lot of stuff. Their rods are successful. They helped Favorite Rods, working with Favorite in the beginning. That thing blew up. Like, dude, these guys came in my opinion, whether you love them, hate them, whatever, and it's split right down the middle, I feel like, with a lot of folks. They did something freaking remarkable. And now the truly only thing left, which I think he's insane for trying or even having that want to, but it's that never satisfied kind of thing with successful people. The only thing left is to show people, hey, man, I can catch them in an actual tournament. And Rob on my show last year said, dude, he's never fished tournaments at all. Like he may not even know how to get through boat check. I'm just saying, like, my dude is jumping in, and I think this year of all years, and I don't know about
when it's tougher.
Oh my God. Last year on the Opens, murderer's row. This year, hide and watch, and it's going to be 1,000,000 times worse, man. 1,000,000 times worse, because I think you're going to have more FLW guys. You're going to have more young guys coming. Like, it is going to be, you could have BPT guys coming over, right? More of those poking around. I think it's going to be, when the rosters are put out, this will be the most competitive year. The Toyotas tend to lend themselves to a lot of locals getting in. A lot of times, because the fields haven't in the last couple of years, they don't fill up. And so you then get to fight FLW guys, BPT guys, Bassmaster guys that fish those, and locals, which the Opens are the same way. There's locals that get in, not as many most of the time. But, dude, this is murderer's row. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's one of those things. It's like the John Cox thing. When we're talking about John and we're putting words in his mouth, like, I want to call him. You call him now. He's your buddy. He's been on my show last year. Call him up now. Yeah, he's been on my show. I texted with him yesterday. I texted with him literally yesterday.
Well, zoom him. Like, big shot. Zoom him right now. I mean, our viewers want to hear from him. I called Cox. He's not going to do this. I mean, there's all sorts of.
You call Cox, all right.
The thing that you got to remember about this guy is it's incredible what he's accomplished in his life, but what he's trying to set himself up to do is near impossible. And there's all sorts of rumors that, you want to talk about a guy that is surrounded by like rumors and stories and this and that. I mean, there's rumors floating around about them potentially selling all sorts of stuff, but we'll see if Luke gets him on the phone and we'll see if he answers any of that stuff. But guys, I can't stress to you enough how.
Yeah, text him to see if he will.
You really texted him? I was totally just trash talking you.
I just texted him.
I don't know if technically we could do this.
Zoom link. I sent him. I said, if I send you a Zoom link, will you jump on with me and Mercer for a call real quick?
Do you know if we send him a Zoom link if it will work?
I have zero. I don't.
We'll find out.
I don't know how that works in the ground. We've never done this.
Are you going to ask? You're not.
But I'm not going to call the dude with
rumor.
1.8. Do what?
You're not going to ask him about those company rumors, are you?
If we get him on the phone, I will.
No, you won't.
Dude, hang on, it says red.
It
says red. Hang on, he has it red in his belt.
I'm just going to say, if he jumps on here, I don't know if it's cool to bring up like, did you sell your freaking company? But hey,
yes, that's fine. I'll pull over.
It's going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. LunkersTV himself, Rob Terkla, from the side of the interstate, some damn where. What's up, buddy?
How you doing? Yeah, I'm in a Chili's parking lot right now.
Oh, hell yeah. Love those boneless wings, dude. So I've just got to ask you, and look, I got comments on LBL this week. I actually recorded LBL before your announcement came out. So I didn't get to talk about it. And dude, my comments are like, what about Lunkers? What about Lunkers? What about Lunkers? So luckily, me and my fine Canadian friend here, Mr. Mercer, have this LD and the MC thing. So I said, hey, we'll talk about it today. So we've been talking about it. And my question is, why now? So you've been doing the GOOGAN thing, dude. You guys you call it the GOOGAN takeover. I've had you on LBO. We talked about why the Opens and the Toyotas now. What do you have to prove to any damn body, Rob?
It's not really. It's more for myself. I've been making fishing videos for like 6 years, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. I just go out, flip a jig, catch a fish, talk about how pretty the fish looks, put it back in the water, do it over. It's like rinse and repeat, do it over. I've done it 600, 700, 800 times. It's the same shit over and over again. So I thought, this is pretty much it. I mean, we built GOOGAN. We built probably one of the larger platforms on social media for fishing and hunting and anything else like that. So I thought that this is all I've got left to prove, pretty much to myself.
Okay.
That I can hang and do it. So.
Okay. Are you? Go ahead, Dave.
I got to tell you, man. First of all, I mean, number one, how big are your balls? Number one, and number two, the second part of that question is, how big of an ass whooping are you willing to take? I mean, to be honest, like I don't want to sound, I've been very complimentary of the fact that you're doing this, but you also understand what you're doing. I mean, you're going from the playground to the freaking championship. You know what I mean? Like you're, and you're in a situation that, quite frankly, there's no reason to do this, but how committed are you to this?
Well, the other night, I was sitting there thinking, how much do I really want to get involved? I said, you know what, just whatever. I'm going to go out and I bought a new truck and a fifth wheel just for these tournaments. I mean, and I'm not kidding. I bought a 3500 dually, hooked up to a fifth wheel, and that's that truck's only purpose in life. So I'll be traveling with a fifth wheel, a truck, and then this truck in my boat. My camera guy will drive this, and I'll drive the fifth wheel. I'm making a determination after the first event, which is in a couple weeks. And if I really do enjoy it and I think it's fun as hell, then I'm going to fish them all. I'm just not going to fish the Southerns. I'm just going to say, screw it, just fish them all. Because I'm going to be fishing anyway, so may as well just go out and get yes, I am well aware. I probably will get my ass handed to me on a lot of these lakes. I've never fished any of them. I really haven't. I know Florida kind of, but not well enough to be confident to say, yeah, I think I'll do pretty well. And it's kind of like a weird thing because I got if I fail, I'm going to be failing to my audience, but also I'll be like the whole world. It's a little bit of pressure, but I feel like I excel on the pressure side. And you're right. I guess I really don't have anything. I have no reason to do this. I can still just make the same YouTube videos, but like I said, it's the same monotonous thing over and over and over again. And I kind of like taking risks. So.
Dude, for me, this goes to, I have this mentality that I'm never satisfied. It doesn't matter what I do, right? Like, I'm never satisfied. And you're damn sure that guy because, like you said, you've got enough money to go roll up and buy a damn fifth wheel. Because when you told me, hey, I'm getting a camper, I actually texted you about this. I was like, well, I didn't know you're going to buy the biggest one they freaking make on planet Earth. But like, you can go do that. So to me, that just shows that nobody's ever satisfied, dude. You're old, like you're so successful, but you're like, you know what? I still got something to prove to myself. I'm going to go do this. You don't strike me as a guy, though. I don't know you that well, but you don't strike me as a guy that if you finish 75th, you're going to enjoy that.
No,
is that a fair statement?
Oh my God, yeah, I'm coming out swinging. The whole. That's one thing I'm very blessed to have is I don't have the financial weight on my shoulders that most people will have. I'm out here. This is what I do anyway for I guess a living. I make fishing videos essentially, but I mean it's going to cost me a little extra money, but it's just a write-off in the end of the day because it's what I do for a living. But it's just
I love it.
What's that?
I said I love it. I love that.
No, it's just I'm coming out swinging. I'm not coming out to make. To get 70th or to get the damn cut a check or like get excited about cut a check. I'm actually trying to figure out what I'm going to do with any of the earnings and winnings that I do make. I think I'm going to set up a GOOGAN fund, some sort of like charity deal. And I think I'm actually going to donate all the winnings to that. And then I think I haven't really got an exact idea of what I want to do with it. But I thought maybe helping high schoolers with their tournament costs or like all that kind of stuff. I know how expensive this stuff is. It's just really ridiculous how expensive it is. And maybe colleges, if we can legally, because I know sometimes they're real weird on giving money to college students.
Yeah.
Them, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but that was one of my ideas was just all the net profits just go straight into this because it's not a money thing. This whole thing is not for me to do it to make money. This is, I mean, I have the GOOGAN brand. I'm always going to be promoting the GOOGAN brand, but it's not the tournaments is not how I'm going to make my living.
So I know you run a Phoenix bass boat. Do you have any affiliation with them? Like in this situation, do you have other sponsors? Because you guys have notoriously been like, hey man, I'm going to cover up this logo because shit, I don't need it. Right. I mean, and that's a great position to be in, but are you, as you turn the page into this tournament thing, do you have other sponsors? How does that work for a guy like Rob?
No, it'll never happen. I don't believe so. I mean, I might work with some companies, but I work with Mercury. We do have a sponsorship deal with them. It's Mercury. I mean, so I throw it on the back of a Phoenix and I roll with it. But I don't know if I don't know. We'll play it by ear. I don't really see a lot of the companies wanting to. I mean, I don't think me rotating over to doing tournaments is gonna just all of a sudden make them want to work with me. If that is the case, then they are so ass backwards on their marketing. They don't know what they're doing. If they all of a sudden just say, "Hey, you know what? He's fishing tournaments now. He's worth the money," then you are so wrong, and you need to rotate out your marketing department because that is not right. So.
That's a good one.
Luke, you can't follow up an answer like, "I'm just doing this for a freaking write-off." Who are your sponsors going to be? I mean, and with that in mind, if you're looking for a write-off, north of the border, there's a chunky one with a salt and pepper beard that would love to be your write-off. But
yes, I told him I'd be his assistant.
Straight up question, Rob. For years, all I've heard is the Googans hate tournament anglers and tournament anglers hate the Googans. And tell me your take on that. I mean, is it true?
I got it. No, it's not. I'm friends with a lot of them. Like all the younger guys, that are around my age. I think they see it, and I mean, a lot of them do YouTube now, which is kind of crazy. Is I go and I type in tournament bass fishing now, and every single major tournament angler is making YouTube videos. Every one of them. But 3 years ago, we were the scum of the earth, and I think the whole problem was the fact that they didn't really understand exactly. They didn't get the concept behind social media marketing or YouTube in general. Like no one understood it really. It was so new, and everybody was so stuck in their ways of, I'm just going to go tournament fish. This is all I care about is cutting a check, making it to the next year, and getting by. When I went into it, and when I go into most things, it's like everything has a business mindset. Like YouTube, I treated it as a business, and that's all it was. That's all it is. It's my job. So.
Well, GOOGAN's is a business though, and I gotta ask you, First thing I thought is, man, you're Lunkers TV, but you're representing more than Lunkers TV. How do the other Googans feel about you? Because, I mean, it's easy to be like, hey, I got these giant balls and I don't care what happens. But you know what's going to happen if you throw down a couple of triple-digit finishes in a row. It's not just going to be Lunkers didn't catch them. It's going to be, the Googans can't catch bass.
No, I know it is. I know how it is going to be. I'm telling you, when I decided to do it, that's why, like, I had to force myself. I thought about it last year. I talked to Scott Martin about it quite a bit, and he said, just go out and do it and fuck what anybody says. I said, I guess. But then I realized at the same time, it isn't just my name. It's also all the guys that are on the Googan squad. We're all lumped in as one whole. And I do realize that, but that's why I went out and bought the fifth wheel, because it's forcing me. Like, I am now forced, and once it's put out there publicly, I can't really back down from it. So, yeah, and I am well aware that if I do terrible, it's not going to be a good look. Which I will say this, it's going to take me it might take me a couple to get in a groove, because I mean, I sincerely have never done any of this, so I got to figure out how to manage time correctly, how to manage my spots, when to move. I understand all that. But I do have some guys in my corner, like, say, Scott Martin or Connell or Wheeler or any of these guys.
Those aren't bad guys to have in a corner.
They're really good guys to have in my corner. I'm good friends with all of them. And Brandon Polnick's actually the reason why I bought a damn RV. I talked to him on the phone. He convinced me I needed to get one, so I went out and bought one. But no, I have them in my corner, and Connell is. I mean, I talk to him every other day, and he really wants me to go out there and put the hammer down. So I think he's going to be the one that's probably going to help me really learn how to manage and know when to leave spots and shit like that, which they're great guys. Don't get me wrong. I love those guys. They're great guys.
So I think a lot of people are going to want this question answered. And I know we've kept you on the side of the road for too long, so we'll wind it up. But if you make the Elite Series, like if you have that year, you are Mr. Video Guy, you're full-time in that, you're shooting shit out of helicopters, you're blowing stuff up, you're making fishing videos, you're building lakes, you're hanging out with Cammy Cakes. I mean, let's be honest. Life's good for Rob, but do you accept an Elite Series invite and go full-time in this? Like, do you become Rob Terkla, Elite Series bass angler that goes and weighs in with Dave Mercer? Like, is that a thought for you? Okay.
That's why not? I mean, like I said, I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm always doing random business stuff, and I mean, like I just prove a point, and I mean it's more to myself than anything. But yeah, I know, like I'm saying, I know what I'm getting myself into. I'm stepping in the ring with the big boys. I mean, a lot of these guys on these things, that's their home lake. They're coming out. They're going to be. They just want to make some money real quick, and I understand that, and that's fine. So we'll roll with it.
Dude, I got one more for you, and this is gonna be borderline uncovered.
Show you can't. This
no. I told you off air that I was gonna ask this. I'm gonna ask it.
You're an idiot.
So, in all this Googan world, there is a rumor going around that now the reason that you're just even more of a baller than ever before is that you guys sold the brand, and now you're just rocking you're like P. Diddy, son, rocking multi-million-dollar bank accounts. Like, let's hear it right here. Bring it to the world on LD and the MC for me. Did you guys sell the damn company?
No, and yes. We all still retain a very large chunk of it, but we did sell off a chunk, because Googan is actually, it has a lot of companies underneath it. It's basically like a giant octopus, and we lumped it all together, and all those companies sold as one, and now there's a holdings company, and we own a chunk of the holding, a very good chunk of the holdings company. But now we brought in an actual team, so we did. That's why we're able to hire. We were looking at it from the outside, like we really needed to hire more people. So now we hired 25 more people. We haven't announced exactly who we have hired. We've hired some really big guys, actually, from some of the bigger fishing companies now work for us. But we haven't made it public yet, because I don't know if I can or if I'm even allowed to. I have no idea. I know I can't say how much it sold for, but yes, we sold a chunk of it. But now we're raising money, and we're actually going to be going out and trying to buy and acquire more companies within the industry. So we're going after the tops. We're trying to be the largest in the world. To be completely honest with you.
So the mediocre podcasts that get 5,000 to 7,000 views a week to 20,000 views sometimes, I mean, do they strike you as something you might want to buy? I mean, hey, we're for sale, Rob. That's what we're telling you today.
Everybody's for sale. Everything's for sale. Everything's always for sale.
You're the fishing version of the $1 Million Man. Everything's for sale.
That's right. The fishing. That's right. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob freaking Terkla. Rob, dude, thank you.
Wow. I mean, dude, first of all, I'm very impressed that you were able to pull that off. I'm very impressed that technically it kind of worked. And I'm shocked that you had the giant balls you did at the end to ask about the sale. But wow, freaking breaking news on LD and the MC, all because of LD. VIP this week. VIP.
No. I don't want to be the VIP. Say it with me, Humpers. Luke is now varsity. Come on. Hit me with it. Come on. Tell me I'm getting closer to varsity. Come on.
You made a catch in the game. There was an opening. You made a catch.
Listen, if texting the guy with the millions of subscribers and getting a response doesn't land me on varsity, then I don't know what in the hell you're ever going to need from me, buddy, because it doesn't get any better than that in my eyes. The most topical thing in fishing right now, I reach out to the guy. I got the freaking contacts. Like,
I'm very impressed.
There's probably 20 podcasts right now that were like, I wish I could do that. And I did it. So I'm varsity now.
Somebody in the comments.
Varsity.
Somebody in the comments, after you tell him whether he's varsity, just let me know how many eyes were in those last three statements. I put the over-under at 17 to 18 eyes. Listen, I thought you were
I am an influencer, and I will say the word all I want.
I feel personally
you're saying
you've always been varsity. But remember, you're also taking that judgment from a man who at one time in his life didn't know the difference between Auburn and Alabama.
Okay, so this is true. This is true. This is the guy that opened this show basically desecrating half of our fan base by saying what they like is stupid.
No, see how you take everything like that? You're like, oh, no, it's not. I didn't say what they like is stupid. It's my take on it, and I think it's overhyped.
You said college football is stupid. Your exact quote, rewind to the front, Humpers. His exact quote was college football is stupid. What they like is stupid. That is
I'm trying to get past that, Luke. I'm trying to get past that.
Media bias or whatever. Okay. Jesus. This
13.
guy.
13. I told you.
I
told you what was going to happen.
This is it. If you jump out of the 14th floor, you will get to the ground quicker, though, because it is 13. Mitch Hedberg joke. Mitch Hedberg said that you will hit the ground sooner. It is not 14.
Oh, man.
God bless. R.I.P. Mitch Hedberg. Classic. I love that.
Very, very classic comedian.
Very classic comedian. So you put this on the list for today. I don't want to talk about it, but I guess we will. NFL football. Go ahead.
I am a freaking emotional roller coaster right now. I'm all I mean, obviously the Chiefs won. Big, but did we really win?
No.
What's going on with St. Patrick? What do you mean no? I mean, we were handily.
No, you lost the fact that your number one quarterback, you try to rush him.
Stupid play.
Stupid play. And dude, the look in his eyes was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen.
Scary.
That's a grown man that did not know what planet.
You should have seen the freaking look in my eyes, dude. When I saw the look in his eyes.
I wish I could have. I wish we would have seen, I guess, just right there having popcorn next to me. Wish I could have seen that. That would have been amazing.
Here's the first thing I learned. You don't really have friends in life. None of us do. We think we have friends. We just have people that want to be there when we fail, because I mean,
sure,
the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. I got some texts from some people, and they're like, "Oh, your team, after years of losing, you guys won. Congrats!" But there was a lot of people who never said crap and have never said crap, and that's fine. I mean, I didn't win. It's just a team that I chose to cheer for. But boy, when your quarterback goes down, my phone freaking lit up like a fire engine, dude. Like people I haven't heard from.
Guilty.
And I'm like, what the? So I just stopped answering. I think Patrick will play, but it's nerve-wracking, man. And it's hard to play the Bills, dude. The Bills are a good team. I mean, I love Buffalo. I mean, I do legitimately. I spend probably more time in Buffalo than any other city outside of the city I live in. I love Buffalo. I'm a big fan of the wings. I love their smallmouth. I mean,
Oh, they do have those.
That's home for me. So I do love the people of Buffalo, but and I've cheered. It's been fun all season long. It's been great to have, the Bills back. Yay, the Bills back. Not this week, okay? I'm a little nervous if Patrick doesn't play, but I do feel that in the end, St. Patrick will rise up. He will roll through that tunnel.
Well, I am
the Buffalo Bills.
I'm sick of all the Chiefs talk. I'm sick.
Why?
I watched the divisionals this weekend because I hate the Ravens. Wow. And I loved watching those Buffalo Bills that haven't been in the playoffs in a while. I loved watching them beat up on Lamar Jackson and freaking send them home crying, and no AFC championship and no chance at a Super Bowl because they put the Titans out. So I have hitched my wagon. Check it out. Look at this. Couldn't find a Buffalo Bills shirt, but guy on a Buffalo, that's me right now. MC, guy on a Buffalo, LD, baby. Bills fan, bandwagon. Let's do this. Don't even know who their quarterback is. Let's go. Let's freaking go, baby.
First of all,
go.
I mean, I believe the Bills Mafia may have something to say about this. I don't know if they'd even accept you.
It says, get out of here, kitty cat. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Guy on a Buffalo right there.
So you're all in for the Bills.
All in, buddy. If it gets me a reaction from you when this goes down on AFC Championship Day, and you're like, St. Patrick's done, he's out, they're not going to win, and the Bills go to they're kind of the same color as the Titans. I'm for it. Blue all the way. Blue.
You bleed blue. I
bleed blue, buddy. Let's go, freaking Bills. And I feel like most people in the comment section will feel the same way because you said you live close to Buffalo. You were the utmost bandwagon Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Yeah, 20 years of bandwagon jumping.
Skip over your second hometown to pull for the Chiefs in Kansas City?
Yes.
So unloyal. That's what
unloyal. Unloyal, dude.
Loyal.
You bleed blue until that blue runs.
Who cares? Right here.
You're a Bills fan, are you?
This is me, buddy. Look at this silhouette. That's my gun.
That
protecting the Bills.
Really?
That's me, the guy on the Buffalo Bills Mafia. If I could get there to jump through a table with those guys, I would. I'm that all in with the Bills.
How all in are you? Because last year,
all in, buddy.
Pre-podcast, just so you know, our relationship was not founded here. We were friends.
We didn't just meet this year.
We were actually better friends before this, to be totally honest. But now that we started this, I feel it only makes sense. I mean, last year we had a little bet, and for those of you that don't follow our socials, you really should. But the bet was if the Chiefs won
versus the Titans.
Versus the Titans last year, I would have dyed my beard red or blue for the Titans, and if the Chiefs won, you were dyeing your beard red. And how did that work out, Lucas?
Dude, so I go and get this stuff at a Walgreens to do this because I am. If I make a bet, I'm going to follow through, especially one where you're goated on social media via several videos and Instagram stories. And it was like you and I going back and forth in the stories with each other every time somebody scored. And the Titans were up 10-0 at halftime. And you were a little nervous, but I wasn't because Patrick Mahomes basically scores 47 points a game. Like, it's ridiculous, right? So I was like, yeah, you can never get comfortable playing the Chiefs, right? Like, you just can't because they're so high-powered. And their defense is great at the same time. But I'm like third quarter, I'm like, oh, my God, this is happening. I was telling my daughter about it, and she's like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, she was
excited.
Stoked, you know? She's excited, Harper. And I went and I got this stuff. And it said that it was temporary, right? So I'm like, okay, it's the gag. I'll come home. I'll spray it up. I'll do it up. I'll do the social posts. I'll say, hey, go Chiefs to Mercer, and then I'm out. This stuff is made from I don't know what. Okay. So
it looked great. I'm looking for the pictures.
it was
If you're
bright.
wondering what I'm doing. Scrolling.
It's on my Instagram, but so this stuff, dude, I've got a tile shower. It's white tiles. When I took no less than like 6 showers, and I would get out because there's no mirror in the shower, and I would look again. There's just globs and goop of this crap. And the white tile shower was just red and pink. And when I would scrub the beard, it would just spray everywhere like a dog shaking off. This shit was everywhere. Everywhere. Where I would dry off, it would drip in the bathroom floor. Dude, this, like, it was one of the biggest messes. Like, I think I could have, like, I don't know, butchered a freaking hog and not had this much mess to clean up in my freaking bathroom from this little red. And my beard was not as big and illustrious as it is right now. So I am out on any beard dyeing bet.
You're scared to die.
Dude, that sucked. It sucked.
I mean, that must have been beautiful. That red water running down those white tiles, the crimson of the great Kansas City Chiefs, like your tears running down. I could just imagine you just crying in the shower.
I want people to think about this. It really was that way. I want people to think about this. This is a little different bet this year because I'm new to the Bills Mafia, as in like the last 24 hours. But
last 24 minutes.
24 minutes. Yeah. So last year, though, the Titans are, dude, they beat the Patriots to get there. I'm like, oh my God, we got a chance. King Henry, let's go, baby. And then we're up at halftime, and dude, your emotions, like, y'all know how it is with your teams. And I'm like, we're going to the freaking, oh my God, we've got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And then after defeat, and you're just pissed and sad, to make good on a bet, I still had to drive to Walgreens and dye my beard, and then spent after a 1-minute social media video, hours of my night getting this shit out of my beard into the next morning, because I woke up and it was like places on my neck, places on my cheek. My pillow is ruined. New pillowcases have to be, but like, dude, it was so bad. So whatever you have for me this year, I feel like we can decide right here on the air. This will probably be not entertaining at all, but I'm out on the beard dye. I don't know what other thing we could do. I loved the idea of that until I had to do it.
That's a good bet. I mean, generally,
it's a solid bet.
And
I'm not shaving my beard either. Screw that. I'm not doing that either. I love facial hair.
You are like the least committal Bills Mafia member. These people, Bills Mafia is not like you, dude. Bills Mafia, they jump through tables, they set themselves on fire. They are the Bills Mafia. I am
the guy on the buffalo. Okay, this is me. Me. Don't question my loyalty to my Bills Mafia. This is me right here.
If the Bills win, I will ride a buffalo. If the Chiefs win, I get to shoot you with an arrow. Sounds like a great deal.
I swear to God, I didn't know where you were going with that. And I was so excited because I was like, if you have to find a buffalo to ride, this is going to be the best video we ever make. And so you said you were going to shoot me.
I mean, how committed are you to your team? Here's what I'm going to say. We text each other way too much because I've been scrolling for 20 minutes. The pictures on both our social medias look back a year. But how about we do this? How about we let the Humpers, you guys in the comments, let us know what you think we should bet. But I think he's very non-committal. But that is not the only sporting event happening this weekend. We also got to talk about the other game happening in the NFL. And I'm going all Packers there. I'm going all freaking Packers. I want it to be, number one, how awesome is the 4 teams that are left? You've got 2 old school veterans, 2 of the young guns shooting it out. And then you're going to have a veteran versus a young gun when it all goes down. But I'd really love to see Brady and Mahomes battle it. Obviously I want Mahomes in the finals, but I'd love to see a Brady Mahomes final. But dude, I'm going to be honest. I'm all in for Aaron Rodgers, and for one freaking reason. I thought he was a pompous jackass. I hated Aaron Rodgers I mean,
what?
Green Bay, I've hated a lot of people this week. I must be show number 13, the angry one.
This lockdown is getting to you.
It really is.
It really is.
It really is.
You're the happy one. I'm supposed to be the angry elf, and it's totally backwards this week.
I just want to eat popcorn, shrimp, and have a keg of beer at a bar somewhere.
And you can't.
I can't.
I can't.
But I never like a lot. I mean, a lot of Green Bay Packer fans are very boisterous, and we're all kind of boisterous or whatever. So I've always kind of disliked Aaron, but I fell in love with the dude this year for one thing he does, and it was because of a freaking podcast. Every Tuesday he's on Pat McAfee's show.
Yeah, that's right.
Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. I thought he was a total doof. Like, you see Aaron Rodgers playing. He's like, got that kind of condescending, like, hey, I'm much better than you and always have been look. But dude is one of the coolest dudes on earth when you actually get to, and that's so due to that show, due to Pat McAfee, I'm cheering that Aaron Rodgers makes the Super Bowl and gets his skull caved in by Patrick Mahomes.
God, you and these. Geez.
Not technically.
I've always been, this is the other bandwagon I'm on. So low key, I've always really, dude, I went to Lambeau Field like 15 years ago. I got to go there. I was up there on a work trip and I got to go to Lambeau, and it was the week of the NFC championship. As a matter of fact, it was maybe like Favre's last game, up there, I believe. This was years ago. And dude, it was so cold.
Oh,
and you can go to dinner there. There's a restaurant there. And that's the only reason I was there. I didn't get to go to the game. It was during the middle of the week. And it's like negative whatever. And there's snow on the field. And Green Bay's is a cool place. Like the city's cool. It's like a small town. And then you drive down the main drag and then boom, there's Lambeau. Like it's not like a lot of big cities, It's really crazy to me how it lays out. And since then, I brought this was so long ago. My oldest son was a baby, and I brought him back a little cheese head from up there. Like that's something he's still got in his room today. So I've always I thought, man, I get it. Like I get this like love for the Packers that these people have. So I've always kind of kept up. My kids are like that. They wear Packers jerseys and stuff around. They love Aaron Rodgers, which are big Titans fans too. But I would like to see a Packers Bills Super Bowl guy on a buffalo.
Does not know the name of the quarterback. I will once again repeat, does not know the name of the quarterback.
Trent something, right? Isn't it Trent? Dave?
Do your research. Do your freaking research.
Tristan.
Bills Mafia right now
Larry,
is driving to Tennessee.
No, they're not,
to
because
revoke your shirt.
The Bills are so glad to have Middle Tennessee representation, and they know they're going to – it's code blue, baby. Code blue. Code blue right here. Sure. Middle Tennessee, code blue, baby.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Bill's getting it done. And
I'd
you're
like
going to ride a buffalo and then shoot me with the weakest bet ever.
See how it all. I'll teach you to complain about rubbing red dye out of your beard. You're going to find out what a real bad bet works out.
Wow, broadheads hurt.
Hey, with Lambeau Field, I mean, years ago we did if you remember, Johnny Van Dam won that Elite
that's right.
in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things working for Bass and being part of that is some of the things you get to do because of that. And we came up with, literally, we were having dinner one night. We're like, it'd be cool if we did the interviews at Lambeau Field.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the sit-down interviews.
Yeah.
So somehow we start calling and I don't know who set it up, but we got into Lambeau Field and did the interviews. It was super cool. There's signs everywhere. You cannot step on the grass. Like there's people that'll tell you to not step on the grass. Like it's crazy. So me and Zona stole a little chunk of grass, and no joke, I
Did
found
Zona
that
burn it.
I don't know, but I don't know what happened to his grass, but I put it in like, you get, we didn't have a bag or we didn't plan this out. So I grabbed this little handful of grass and I put it in like a napkin, you know what I mean? And I folded it all over and made it like a little envelope. Well, dude, we moved to a new house 2 years ago. And when you got stuff in your like closet or whatever, you're looking through drawers and I find this little napkin rolled up with something inside of it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I open it up and I'm like, oh, this is from high school, I get. But then I remembered what it was, and I put it back. And I still have that grass somewhere. But
I figure Zona tries to poison it because he's such a Bears fan. You know, get out of here with that Packers grass, that Lambeau grass. He probably just like sets it on fire in his yard a little ceremoniously.
He probably just put a divot in him.
Yeah.
But that's not the only sporting event this week.
Not.
This sporting event alone, if nothing else, this proves that our little podcast had some staying power. Because on the very first episode, we talked about this sporting event, and it was just rumored at that time. And we have lasted long enough that we're still around when it's going to happen this weekend. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier.
Can't wait. I'm going to get the fight. I can't wait. And it is, you and I were talking before the show, when we did the first one here at the LBL Bar and Grill, you and I side by side 13 weeks ago. This was going to be in Jerry World, and that was kind of the thing. It's going to be in Dallas, and you're going to be able to go half capacity. And we were like, can they pull it off? And you're like, if anybody can, it's Jerry. And we had this whole conversation, and it is not going to be in Jerry World. And I think the most interesting thing about this fight, and I heard Dustin on Theo Vaughn's podcast the other day talking about this. It's in Abu Dhabi. I don't even know how you get there from Tennessee or Louisiana, wherever Dustin.
You have to be incredibly rich to get there.
Apparently so. But they're taking like a chartered flight. But him talking about, because of COVID, the precautions that UFC is taking as far as who he's with, who can be with him on the trip, what happens when because he's been training in South Florida. And this is Dustin's camp. They were in South Florida. He says he's really careful. He doesn't go to dinner. He doesn't go out. Like, he doesn't do anything. It's gym to the condo to hang with his wife and his kid, to the gym, to the like, they don't do anything. They cook there, whatever. So he was going to leave South Florida, fly to Vegas, had a quarantine period there, tested before he left, before he can get on the plane, tested immediately when he gets to Vegas. Then they have to quarantine 2 days. Then they fly to Abu Dhabi. Then it's like a so many day period. Dude, it was insane to hear this guy. And I'm thinking, and at the same time, he's cutting weight. He's got to lose like 30 pounds, something like whatever, to fight for weigh-in. Dude. And then you got to go fight in another time zone. If you fly, I've been to Amsterdam one time, and I would suggest that to anyone. Just side note, Amsterdam's a wonderful place, but tons of wonderful things. But it's like an 8-hour time difference, right? When you go over there and you're like, jet lagged out, oh my God, the whole time when you get back home, I can't imagine having to go over there and like function at the height of your game physically in a fight against one of the greatest fighters of all time. Dude, how do you do that?
I think we learned one thing. We thought Jerry could pull it off, but we found out the people in Abu Dhabi have more money than Jerry Jones.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
And that's what's happening there. But I think athletes that perform in situations like that, they just put themselves. You hear a lot of people. Floyd Mayweather said, "That's why I live in Vegas. I train the hours that I perform." So a lot of times when athletes will go somewhere like that, you'll hear them stick to the schedule because they're fighting on U.S. time. So he'll stick to that U.S. schedule and or try to stick to it as close as possible. But yeah, a lot of distractions. That's what sports is. But I think if you look at the fight in general, the last time they fought at 145. This time they're 155. I think Poirier's a lot more lethal at 155. I think he's if you look at him, he's a lot less depleted, but so is Conor. And dude, when it all comes down to it, I think that it'll be a lot closer fight this time around. I think Dustin Poirier was 24 years old when he fought him last time. I know Conor was young too, but Conor's Conor. It's a whole different set of rules. But I think we're going to learn again who freaking Conor McGregor is. I think
you do. So you don't think Poirier?
No, I think Poirier's a great fighter. I think
for sure. Yeah, he's shown that.
Great
he's
fighter.
That. Yeah,
but Poirier's that guy. Like a lot of guys that are pissed they came along when Kevin was fishing, you know what I mean, or stuff like that.
It's a great point.
But Poirier is really good.
Is he crazy for taking that fight?
No, he's crazy not to take it. If he wins, he is number one, explodes. But number two, and I think there's a realistic shot he can win. Let's not get this wrong. It's a freaking fight. It is not a football game. They don't have one thing goes wrong in a football game. One thing went wrong for the Chiefs this week, and I was could have been catastrophic, but they had a chance to recover. In a fight, when that thing goes wrong, you wake up and people are cleaning the ring up around you.
That's true.
It's over.
Takes that long too.
So anything can happen, but I think that Conor McGregor that's the wild card. Well, like what Conor shows up. I mean, I believe that the Conor that shows up is going to be lethal, because if you look at the Conor that showed up when he fought Cowboy last time,
Yeah.
Conor was everybody's friend. Conor went into the press conference. He was like, "Oh, yeah, we're mates for this or that." He was making good after bad
15 seconds after the bell rings.
And you saw what it was. But I believe
savage.
because of all the crap, because of throwing stuff through buses, because of all the bull crap, people don't realize the striker that Conor McGregor is. They also don't realize the wrestler Conor McGregor is. If you look at that last fight, the fight where he lost to Khabib, look at how hard Khabib had to work to take him down.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't – Khabib dominated him. But if you look at how easily Khabib took other fighters down, Conor McGregor's a lot better fighter than people think. So I was born in Belfast. I have to go Conor McGregor. I'm all in McGregor. I haven't changed my stance since podcast number 1.
See, I think I said McGregor in the first podcast, but I'm changing my stance. Did I not? Did I say
you
Poirier?
were all Theo. You were like you were all Poirier.
I love Theo Von.
I
I do love Theo Von. And I love, listen, Dustin Poirier, if you haven't checked out his story, because man, I like the damn underdog. And I like, dude, Conor is very much that big over the top showman. And I love that too. It's cool, but I'd like to see Dustin Poirier just mop the floor with him. I think that's cool. Just like my Bills are gonna take St. Patrick down.
That could happen.
Could
not
very
the
much
second
happen.
part. Not the second part.
Oh.
The first part could happen.
Oh, okay.
But let me ask you this about Conor McGregor, because I've thought this for a long time. Everybody gives Conor McGregor the title of building the UFC and everything. Did Conor McGregor destroy the UFC? And what I mean by that is, if you really look, I mean, I've been an MMA fan for years and years and years, but if you looked at it, all fights had parity before. All fights were like, it's a big fight card. You hear a lot of old UFC fans say, I miss the old days where it was like one pay-per-view a month, and the cards were stacked.
They do have a lot of fights now.
Yeah, they have a lot of fights now.
A lot of fights.
But the biggest difference I see in the UFC is, man, a Conor McGregor fight was different. UFC fights were UFC fights, but then all of a sudden this guy comes and he starts predicting the rounds he's going to knock him out. He becomes a media phenom to the point that,
like
Floyd
Tyson.
Mayweather fights him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he became an icon. But because of that, every time his weigh-ins happened, there was thousands and thousands of people and so much hoopla and so much. And then when you tuned in the next week, and
I would agree with that.
it could have been Stipe and Daniel Cormier, which was a huge fight, don't get me wrong, but it still doesn't have that same
swagger.
You know what I mean? So you wonder if, like, all the good that he brought, there is some bad that comes with it too.
No doubt
UFC.
about it.
But
I would agree with that 1,000%. You can't have a personality that big and it not affect it good and bad, right? When he's a part of it, it's like all eyes on it. But if he's not, it's like, oh, okay, Conor's not there.
The last thing that I'll say about that fight has a lot to do with a lot of the topics we talked about this week. And I'll throw Rob Terkla in there. We're going to find out.
Is he going to fight Conor?
No, we might as well. Throw it in there. I mean, dude, you don't think he can fight? He's a soldier, man.
I'll promise you he can
probably
fight.
more skilled at fighting.
Dude, listen, if he said he was going to fight somebody tomorrow publicly, live streaming Logan Paul, Mike Tyson, like none of that would surprise me with Rob.
But there's a saying in fighting and in any sport, a hungry dog runs the hardest. And
Very true.
That's always a thing in fighting. So that's always the caveat with Conor. What Conor shows up? How hungry is he? Does he show up with a belly full of proper 12 whiskey, or does he show up ready to fight? I think he's going to show up ready to fight, but we'll have to find out how Rob Terkla shows up to the Bassmaster.
That's right.
And,
y'all comment about all of it. All of it. This is an episode full of things to comment. I want you to start at the beginning and just let Mercer know. all about his college football takes, and I know you will. I know you will. But let us know what you think about all this, man. We want to keep it mixed up week after week after week. We appreciate you stopping by with LD and the MC. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the fan questions you guys throw our way, and we appreciate you subscribing and liking. More than anything, I think that brings us the most joy. Make sure you're subscribing. Yes. Make sure you're subscribing to the Facts of Fishing YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to the Luke Duncan's Traveling Circus YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We're always doing something back and forth, commenting back and forth to each other, carrying on. That's where you could have seen the red dye beard challenge bet winner, whatever you want to call it, last year. But make sure that you tell all your friends and neighbors. You can find this on YouTube, but you can also find it everywhere else podcasts exist: Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, you name it, buddy. We are international, worldwide. Trust me on that. So we appreciate you guys. Let us know what you thought about this episode. It's a little long, a lot of topics, but do you want more sports out of LD and the MC? Do you love Dave's hot takes? Let's hear it.
Are we done yet?
I don't know.
Hey, tune in next week and watch Luke Duncan get shot by a bow and arrow on LD
and the MC.